The East Coast is watching Florence. Thanks for joining us. I'm Janet Roach.
And I'm David Allen. Florence is expected to stay under hurricane strength for a short time before becoming a hurricane once again.
Astronaut Ricky Arnold tweeted photos of the storm from space yesterday, and Evan will hand it over to you.
That's right. We'll get the latest of the storm. It just coming in, that 5 o'clock advisory. Got it about 5 minutes ago or so. And really not a big change in the overall strength of the storm. Then the main difference with the 5 o'clock advisory from the 11 o'clock advisory is that the forecast cone is out about 6 more hours into the future. So the storm, again, still well off the coastline of Bermuda right now, about 905 miles there towards the southeast of Bermuda, working off towards the west at 8 miles per hour. Expected to remain a tropical storm until about Sunday, but then as it starts to come here south of the island of Bermuda, getting into some very warm waters, that's when we're looking at the potential for the strengthening. And I know you look at this forecast cone and you're like, man, that's a pretty ominous looking sign. And the window for this storm to turn and curve out is getting smaller and smaller. That's still a potential with this storm, but there's also a potential that it is going to make some landfall somewhere along the southeast coastline. Again, it could be anywhere from, say, central Florida or up towards areas around New Jersey or something like that. Again, lots of questions of what happens beyond next Wednesday. Again, this is the 2 p.m. Wednesday location as far as the Hurricane Center forecast, but it could be anywhere inside that cone. And you notice that's where those computer models are, and some of them are taking it here towards the southeast down through South Carolina or Georgia, several up towards us, a couple still curving out into the Atlantic. It's still just too early to say where this storm could go beyond the next 5 days, and this forecast will likely change over the next several days as well as more information comes in and as they send the Hurricane Hunter aircraft into it. So we haven't gotten all the information on the storm just yet, and that's why it's still way too early to make a forecast on what might happen here beyond 5 days. But that strengthening is expected over the next several days. That escape path option to the north is starting to get a little bit smaller, and there's a bigger threat here across the East Coast. So that's what we'll be watching throughout the weekend, and not a bad time to check out your hurricane plan and that supply kit. As we get a little bit closer into early next week, we should have a much better idea. A couple of showers have popped up here across areas of Suffolk, across parts of Chesapeake as well. This one is falling apart through the rest of the evening. Partly cloudy, muggy and warm, temperatures down into the mid-70s by midnight. When I come back, a lot more on Florence and what else is brewing in the tropics coming up.
All right, are you prepared for hurricane season? Grade your preparedness at 13newsnow.com/vote. You can also weigh in on our app. Our beach communities are often working on adding sand to help reduce storm damage. But what happens if a hurricane threatens a beach? That sand isn't being replenished until next year. 13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton is live in Sandbridge. And Allie, does the city of Virginia Beach think Sandbridge can handle a possible hurricane?
Well, David, city leaders say they actually survey this beach twice a year. They look at things like the sand dunes. They make sure they're growing okay. They also look at the sand that I'm standing on and also the sand underneath the water. They say this beach is in good condition, but community members disagree and they're concerned.
The ocean doesn't wait on us to replenish it. You know, it does what it wants to do.
That's Sandbridge Civic League President Andrew Roper.
We missed the mark in preparing us for this particular season.
He believes the beach restoration project is long overdue. Now Roper is worried about storms brewing in the Atlantic.
We're supposed to be on a 3-year maintenance schedule with the city with regards to sand replenishment.
City leaders say the beach restoration was planned for a 3-year cycle, but they were able to push it to 5 to 6 years because they're putting more material on the beach. Coastal Program Manager Dan Adams says it saves money and gives a higher level of storm protection. He thinks this beach could handle a storm as it is now.
It is prepared. We expect we could lose a significant amount of sand. The sand is sacrificial. The idea is to protect the upland structures and the infrastructure.
Early next year, Sandbridge Beach will get a $20 million upgrade, which will add more sand. The last time it was done was in 2013.
It's going to greatly mitigate and reduce potential storm damages and loss of property, potentially loss of life. And that's the main reason why we do beach nourishment projects. We spend millions to save billions.
Now coming up on 13 News Now at 6, hear more about the plans and see the pictures what this used to look like back in 1991. Live in Virginia Beach, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
September is National Preparedness Month, and FEMA has some advice for preparing your home for hurricane season. Make sure to trim branches and trees. A storm brings the chance for tree limbs to damage homes. Secure or reinforce windows and doors, and don't forget about the roof. Check that it's sealed, secured, and in good condition. Remember to remove any trash or debris around the house and secure any loose items. Those include patio furniture, tools, grills, and more.
Something else to think about: flood insurance. A viewer asked us how long it takes to go into effect. For most people, there is a wait period after you purchase your policy. According to FEMA, that's usually about 30 days. So after you buy the plan, it doesn't actually go into effect for another month. But there are some exceptions. For example, if your plan goes along with buying or extending a mortgage, there is no wait period. But buying early is usually the safest bet here.
13 News Now continues to track this busy Atlantic hurricane season. Get full videos explaining the storm's tracks on 13 News Now app. Just click the Hurricane Center tile.
We want to know, how would you grade your personal hurricane preparedness? Many of you've already said you've done it and you'd give yourself an A.
Or maybe you're not prepared, so you would get an F. Tell us on 13newsnow.com/vote. You can also vote on our app.
Hampton University is getting $500,000 to preserve a historic building for generations to come. It's the university's first Native American dorm, called Wigwam. 13 News Now reporter Robert Boyd shows us the role Native Americans played in Hampton University's history.
Well, it was on these very steps that the first Native American class in Hampton University history posed for a picture. And this new grant will ensure that this building is preserved for generations to come.
The year was 1878, when 60 Native Americans enrolled at Hampton University. And the boys' dorm, called Wigwam, is still there all these years later.
The building was built by students. The brick was made by the students. The lumber was milled by the students.
The building is now the university's Educational Resources Center, but everything from the bricks to the terraces remain just like they were 140 years ago.
It is a sense of pride for the university.
Vice President of Business Affairs, Dorothy Spells, says it was the U.S. Army's decision to send Native Americans to college, and Hampton University welcomed them with open arms.
It was rare. We were on the forefront. The U.S. Army wanted to use Indians as looking at getting a positive example of the American Indians, and Hampton was excellent for that choice.
Hampton is one of 19 universities nationwide to receive this $500,000 grant from the National Park Service.
The grant will allow us to preserve the building, to renovate the building, so that it could still be here years to come.
The restoration is expected to be complete by the fall of 2020. At Hampton University, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
New information about the ongoing Bonner Bridge replacement project in Dare County. The new span is expected to open in December. Bonner connects NC-12 over the Oregon Inlet. The old bridge was aging and outdated. The state even closed it for a while in 2013 due to safety concerns. Once the new span opens in December, NCDOT will start to tear down the old bridge.
New at 5, an inspiring young athlete beat the odds to play football for New Kent High School tonight. Juwan Mickle-Jones had a heart transplant in January. Now he has a new lease on life. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens spoke with the teen about his incredible journey that started on the football field.
By the grace of God, he kept me alive.
Juwan Mickle-Jones has a lot to smile for.
Keeping faith, keeping my head in that Bible. Good things will come.
Jones is a 16-year-old student at New Kent High School. He's on the football team, but about 8 months ago, neither Juwan nor his dad knew if he'd ever step foot on the field again.
It's like nothing ever happened to him.
Last November, Juwan was in pain. He was feeling tired, weak, and couldn't focus. Doctors at UVA told him he needed a new heart. Juwan had cardiomyopathy, a heart muscle disease.
I didn't think I was going to make it.
But after 2 open heart surgeries in January, one for an LVAD machine to help his heart pump blood, and the other to get his new heart, here he is.
I just prayed and prayed and kept faith, and God put me through.
Juwan's dad, Woodrow Jones, is a single father. The teen's mom died from lupus several years ago.
God, why this happening to me? Why not me? Why not my son? Because God picked his best warriors in situation at hand.
But he says it's their faith that allowed them to get through this challenging situation.
And that's a reason to believe in the Heavenly Father, because he's real.
Now Jawan's back on the football field. He has a game in just a couple hours.
Are we going to get a win tonight? Oh yeah. Awesome. I have faith in my team that we'll get things done.
Tonight, Jawan is thankful and knows that there's a reason that he's still here. In Williamsburg, Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
Nice story. Well, tonight, Newport News community leaders will talk about building stronger communities, and a special guest is scheduled to join the conversation. Susan Bro is set to speak at the Andrew Shannon Gospel Music Celebration tonight. Bro is Heather Heyer's mom. Heyer was killed last year during the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally. Tonight's speech is at Zion Baptist Church, and it starts at 6.